Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner. I am Megan, and I thank you for spending time this week talking about your productivity. Today, we're talking about something, as I say every week, but today's productivity topic is something that I think is going to be user-friendly and that you'll be able to activate and use pretty quickly. Today, we're going to talk about capturing your random thoughts and turning them into action, because as we know that is a very important thing that we do. When you think about our lives are so fast. There are so much going on. And so it is so important for us to be able to identify what is the very best way that we can capture thoughts and turn them into action, because we don't want those thoughts to be distractions. So today we are going to talk about capturing ideas and turning it into action. As always, every week you are watching Intentional Productivity Tips. We are on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel, where you can like, subscribe, and even be notified when new shows drop. Reminder, I am here every Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific, where we are talking about productivity, because again, we know that it is important to be intentional and in control with your productivity. So today, again, as I mentioned, we are going to talk about capturing ideas and turning them into action. Today, we do have two things that we're going to talk about. First, we're going to get started. We're going to talk about from random to action. Again, what are those thoughts? What are those things that pop up in your mind? We're also going to introduce a capture list, what I call, and many other people have called, the idea and the theory of what you do with your thoughts and how you track them. When it comes to productivity, a lot of us call it a capture list. So I'm going to introduce that to you today. Again, I am so excited you are here, because it is so important that we're intentional with our time. When you think about it, the world is getting faster. There's more that we need to pay attention to. There's more going on in our minds than ever before. How do we handle that? What's the best way to move forward? So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about why a capture list. Why would we want a capture list? Have you ever had a random thought? It could be in the middle of the night, maybe in the shower when you're driving. It could be when you're standing somewhere and you have a random thought of, I need to, what's going on with, right? You could have those thoughts that pop in your mind, and those could be a distraction. What do you do with those thoughts? Today, we're going to talk about turning those random thoughts into actionable items with a capture list process. Again, being intentional with your productivity is the best place to start to be in control of your habits, processes, actions, and mindset. So today we're specifically going to look at a specific process for your capture list. Why do we want to create a capture list process? I will be honest, I am bringing this up because, of course, recently I had a client that I was working with, someone that I've worked with off and on for several years. And we were talking and kind of catching up, and he was like, Megan, I have all these thoughts in my head and I just don't know what to do with them. What am I supposed to do with these thoughts in my head? And I was like, we need to capture those thoughts. What are we going to do, right? Those are the thoughts that you need to mind up and you need to capture. So why create a capture list process? Well, studies show that people who capture their ideas are 40% more likely to follow through with them. People who capture their ideas are 40% more likely to follow through with them. This is taught to us by David Allen, who is the author of Getting Things Done. And so I think all of us, if we can increase the odds of getting something done by 40%, it's worth looking into. So let's look a little bit about your capture list. It is important to remember, as I always say when it comes to productivity, your capture list, all about you. Your capture list is about what works for you. Your capture list is what do you want to make happen for you, right? So the purpose of a capture list is to identify a place to mind, dump, and download thoughts that arise but can't be dealt with right away, right? So we all have those thoughts. They're mind dumps. We need to download them. They're in our head, but we can't do anything with them right now. So the question is, what do we want to do with it? There's a couple options of what you can do to capture your thoughts, right? So one thing I always recommend, and as I mentioned, I had a client the other day that I was talking with, and he was talking about all of the thoughts and everything. And so we said, okay, let's go back to your capture list process. And so the capture list process, the first thing we want to do is we want to identify where works for us. Where can we capture our thoughts when they randomly pop into our brain? So it needs to be someplace that is accessible, someplace that you can, or that's with you, right? Some ideas, some options. You could use a notes app. You could use a paper notebook. You could use a calendar, a note card. I have a client that uses note cards to capture ideas. You could use a document, create a document in any of the systems that you use, or you could even text yourself. I know there's times when I've texted myself things, right? So when you think about it, the where, there's a lot of options. So what you want to think about is, again, we want to begin with the end in mind. The goal of the capture list is to have a tool, a resource with us that when we've got the idea, we can dump it down. And so that's why I'm presenting these options and thinking what works best for you. For me, I use a notes app because I've always got my phone with me. In my phone, my laptop, and my phone, in my iPad, all my devices sync. And so for me, it is a notes app. What works best for you? Take time to think about it. Your capture list and where you're going to document all of these random thoughts is a hugely important thing to be aware of. You want to identify something, and the starting for the process is where. And we want to make sure it's somewhere that's convenient for you. So the first thing we want to look at is, where are you going to keep your capture list? The second thing we want to look at is, what is your capture list process, right? So you have an idea, you dump it down on your list, and do you move on? How do you follow up with it? What's the next steps? So why it matters to have a capture list process is regularly reviewing and processing your list helps you turn out random thoughts into actionable items, right? So it's great that you have them in one place. The next step is you need to look at it. So you need to identify, do you review it daily? Do you review it weekly? Do you review it monthly? Hopefully more often than monthly. But if monthly is what you've got, monthly is what you've got, right? No judgment, in all honesty. I will be honest, for me, I review my capture list at the end of every day. It's something that I kind of do when I'm winding down. I have a lot of clients that do it in the morning. And the client that we're talking about, the client that this presentation started about, he also starts to do his at the end of the day as he's closing out of things. When we think about a capture list and we think about a process, our goal is to take those random thoughts, the mind cycles, the distractions, the things that are popping in our head. They're great that they're there, but we want to do something with them, and we want to have a process that we follow through with. So not only do we want to document it and dump it someplace, but we want to follow up and we want to review it so that we're taking the next step with it. Then what are we supposed to do after that? So we want to turn our thoughts into action, right? And the next step is the action. So once we've reviewed the list, we want to identify, is this something that needs to be done now? Is this urgent? What's the priority? And what's the strategy? Is this a book that I'm going to read, and so I'm going to download it? Is this a call that I need to make? Is it, I don't know about you, but I think about the calls I need to make between 8 and 5, probably about 3 a.m. Anyone else? Anyone else that the time when you want to make the call is not the time when you think about it. And so again, you want to identify, what is the follow-up? Is this something I need to add to my calendar? Is this something that I need to add to an action plan? Is this something I need to add to my priorities? What you want to do is once you've downloaded your mind dump, once you've downloaded that action into the capture list, you want to say, okay, what is next? What's the next thing I need to do with it? And then you want to have a process. Why? Why am I worried about and thinking about making this a process? How do we build habits? We build habits through the processes that we take, right? We build habits through the actions. So for me, and what I have found working, again, worked with hundreds and hundreds of productivity clients, thousands of people in project management. One thing I have found that is pretty universal amongst humans, no matter where we live, what country, what we do, we always have these thoughts that are popping in our head. So we want to identify what it is we're going to do with them, right? Taking action, we know, is the true power in this world. Creating habits is going to help us to be in control of our time, our actions, and our productivity. So that's why we wanted to talk a little bit today about a capture list, right? A capture process, I promise you, is going to be worth your time. I promise you, you will. If you start a process in 6 weeks to 2 months from now, you're going to say to yourself, oh, that was so easy. And I'm saying this because I've watched it. And I promise you, if you create this habit, it's going to make a difference in your life. Why? The more organized your mind, the more focused your actions, the more productive your time. Distractions can easily derail progress, so create a capture process that works for you in advance. Capture your ideas before they slip away and turn them into actions. I don't know about you, but years ago, I used to think, oh, remember that? There's no way I'll forget that. Now in 2025, myself is thinking, I might not remember that. How can I help myself? And so we want to be honest with ourselves. When it comes to productivity, there's a lot of things that are involved with it. The habits, the actions, and the processes we implement in our life is going to be what makes a difference and help us to, again, be in control of our time, our actions, our habits, and our focus. And so that's why today, one of my goals was to share with you, what is the way? Why would we want a capture list? What's the best thing we can do with it? Because we know that it's going to make our lives better. So my challenge to you is to identify what's the next thing you can do on your capture list? What's the next way that you can take control of your productivity? What can you do with those thoughts that are in the back of your mind, that are popping up, that are inconvenient? How can we turn those thoughts from an inconvenience into action? And I will tell you, it is with a capture list. I hope that today, our productivity quick tip has been helpful. I hope it's been useful. And as every week, I hope that you take at least one action item, one thought, one suggestion, implement it into your life so that you're able to take control of your time. So you're able to enjoy the life that you've created. My question for you is, how will you take control of your random thoughts? Today, we've talked about how to create the process for that. I challenge you, spend some time to come up with a process to deal with your capture list, to deal with your mind dumps and the things that are mind cycling in your head. And you will be able to get more done with less stress, less thought, and less action. I am Megan. I am your very favorite productivity partner. I want to thank you for being with us today. I want to thank you for having an interest in your productivity. One of the reasons we have this show, Intentional Productivity Tips, is so that you can be intentional to find habits, processes, and even automations that are going to make your life easier and so that you can enjoy the hard work that you've created. You are watching me on USA Global Radio, Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel. Please check out our website. Please look and identify and see there are other great shows that are going to help you to be able to take control of your life so that you can learn and have a better one. Again, thank you for spending time with me today. I will be back next Thursday, as I am every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and we're going to have another productivity quick tip. Until then, you have fun capturing and creating a process for you so those mind dumps stop. And now a word from our sponsors.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Steve Klein Art at steveklein.art.
My name is Steve Klein, born Manchester, England, 1953. My quest in my lifetime is to create artwork from my soul and the deepness within my wildest dreams and fantasies. In 2012, my heart stopped when I was given too much anesthetic for a minor knee operation, and this near-death experience took me to another multidimensional world, an out-of-body experience, and I was given the gift of being blessed by an overwhelming, burning passion to become, for the very first time in my life, an artist with an eternal, passionate desire to bring my art, which I've named multidimensional, subliminal, freeform art, to the world, as only 3% recover from what I experienced, and now in my golden years want to release my cosmic, vital energy through my art to allow people to be a part of my cosmic dance.
To learn more, email roccogoodwine@gmail.com. For VIP pricing, mention USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.